back to the Precision Personal Training Podcast. This is episode number 42. Today is a solo episode, and today's topic is cut yourself some slack, but keep moving forward. So, a quick question before we start. How many of you coming into this weekend are feeling a bit guilty after Paddy's weekend? Maybe you drank more than you planned, ate more than usual, missed a few gym sessions, and now you're sitting there thinking, I've messed it all up. If that's you, this episode is exactly what you need, because today we're talking about something that will make or break your long-term progress. And I really mean that. A thing I've noticed this week with clients in the gym, some clients trained the bank holiday, and all respect to them, and some didn't. But again, the clients that will be successful are the ones that come in and state the obvious. I ate a little bit more. I drank too much the weekend. I didn't track, or I wasn't aligned with where I want to be in 6 months' time at the weekend. That is so fine. I've noticed that a lot of people are extremely hard on themselves for goals that don't require that. Like, it doesn't have to be extreme. And it sounds boring saying this, and it's like, oh, here we go. But you do have to cut yourself a bit of slack if you're thinking long term with this, with training, health, improving your overall well-being, getting to the shape or physique that you want to, and then maintaining it. What you tell yourself in here is going to dictate and affect all your actions that you do. So every single year, for most of you, it's the same pattern. Big weekend, bank holiday, events, weddings, whatever it is, and then boom, Monday comes. In this case, it was probably Wednesday for a lot of people, with Paddy's being on a Tuesday. And instead of just getting back into routine, all the time people beat themselves up, feel guilty, start overthinking everything. And then what happens? You go one or two ways. So there's the all or nothing, and I like to reference the main man Paul Dermody on this, where you press the F it button, and that's where you go, I've ruined it now, so I may as well keep going, and just throw in the towel altogether. Or the overcompensating mode, where you're like, I need to train twice a day, eat nothing, and fix this ASAP. Both of these are massive problems, and it's something that we see all the time in the gym, because neither of them are sustainable, and neither of them lead to real long-term progress. And I'm going to use the example of my client James Riley. Shout out to James. Recently we uploaded James' progress, and he looks phenomenal. The guy has worked super hard, and he has achieved a great result. But the most important thing, and I said this in the post, James was able to drink during that process. He was able to have pizza out of the truck at Raftery's. He's able to have niche burger. He was able to have all these lovely things that we enjoy and that we should be having, and still achieve that result. Now, he was able to do that because of a point I made previously, is you have to be a bit rigid before you can be flexible. James knew he would be having that treat. So he was like, okay, I'm going to control what I can control. I can control the calories, the actions, and the steps I take in the lead up to having that meal out. He did not think, press the F it button, and he did not think, I need to starve myself. He was like, I can control what I can control, and then something like the pizza or the pints, I can't really control the calories in them, because if someone else is cooking it, you're not going to be entirely accurate. And then with the pints, you're going to have a few pints, you're going to have a bit of crack. He just scheduled that in. So again, it's about earning that, and not thinking that you've undone the last however long you're working for. Like James, he's been training me now 7 months in person, 2 mornings a week with me, 3 mornings himself. And the guy was like phenomenal at what he did. He was just got it done, no questions asked. And he was able to enjoy these things. But even when he enjoyed these things, it was his mindset afterwards. He'd always come in on a Monday morning at 6 a.m. and be like, Aria, back on the horse now. And that's the mindset you need to have when you're trying to change your physique and change your health and well-being for the better. So we need to go through just a bit of a perspective shift. Let's just zoom out for a second. You need to understand this. Most people are not training. They're not tracking anything. They're not thinking about protein, and they're not trying to improve their health, increase fiber, better bowel movements. Not many people are thinking like that in a day to day. But you are. So when you have a weekend where things aren't going perfect, you're not failing, you're just doing what normal people do, while still being someone who's trying to improve their health and well-being. There's a massive difference. They compare themselves to an unrealistic, and this is where people get it wrong. They compare themselves to an unrealistic standard of perfection. Instead of recognizing, like, I'm already doing better than I used to, or I'm already more consistent than most, that shift alone changes everything. So when you are someone who goes out at the weekend, and let's say you've trained Monday to Friday, and the lads or the girls are going out, they're going celebrating a birthday, you're doing what probably I'd say 70% of the population aren't doing. You've exercised, you've looked after yourself, you've been mindful of what you've been eating, and you're on track towards that person that you want to become. Now, that end goal is always going to keep changing. So when I talk about that person you want to become, I just think, what does health look like to you? And this is where the perspective shift comes into it. So you need to look at, what does health look like to you? For me, during the warmer months, I want to be confident enough in wearing clothes on holidays, taking my top off, but I also want to feel good, train well, be strong, and also look good. There's nothing wrong with that. Winter months then, it's colder. You wear more layers of clothes. You can have a bit more body fat, but you get stronger in the gym. So that's the way my mindset goes. Because in 2024, when I dieted down, got down to 76.9, I just didn't feel good. I was so depleted. I just felt like absolute crap. And you don't need to go that extreme. You don't have to get to a point where you do not feel good. But I do believe that there's a certain point you have to push yourself to, but it's all about how you respond. So again, you need to I like the analogy of just zooming out from where you were. So you're after, like, let's say, having a meal out or drinks at the weekend. It's Monday and you feel like crap, and you're in two minds of, have I just ruined my progress? I'm telling you now, you haven't. Zoom out, right? Zoom out of your head, zoom out of your car, zoom out of your town, zoom out of your county, province, country. Realize how small this issue is right now, but it's big to you. What matters the most is your response to that feeling, not the response to that weekend that you just had, the response to the feeling of disgust there and then. You're way too hard on yourself. You're entitled to live a little and enjoy yourself. But if you're doing it very frequently, obviously you're going to be frequently feeling like crap. This is why you got to cut yourself some slack. If you're not doing this frequently, this is for you. If you are someone who is on the ball most of the time, you go out and enjoy yourself, and then you feel like crap and you're beating yourself up, take a breather. It is not the end of the world, and you have not ruined your progress. So the real problem here isn't the weekend you just had, it's the harsh self-talk. And this is where myself and Paul spoke about how the fitness industry weaponizes shame. They shame you into feeling like crap in hope you're going to buy something from them. So the problem isn't the weekend. The problem isn't what happens. The problem is what happens after that weekend that you just had. It's the way you speak to yourself, because when you say things like, I have no discipline. I always mess this up. I can't stick to anything. You are reinforcing that identity in your own head. What you tell yourself is what you're going to ultimately believe. Just a story, I PT'd my father this morning, and he was saying to me that when he was in his sales job, the guys on the team be talking how negative the market is. Oh, it's so negative, we're down, blah, blah, blah. He always put a positive spin on how he can make more money for the business or how he can increase his numbers throughout the month. He just said, let's do the opposite to what they're saying. These guys are going all negative, and lo and behold, it's negative. It's not looking good. What if I put a positive spin on it? And this leads me into my next point. If you can overthink the negative, you can definitely overthink the positive. I've messed up the weekend. I've sabotaged my goals. I'm falling off the bandwagon. I'm a piece of shit. It's never going to work for me. I feel like crap. I look like crap. This is me forever. Okay, cool. That's you overthinking the negative. I'm the type of guy to be like, if you can overthink that, why don't you overthink the positive and see what happens? I had a good weekend. I enjoyed time off with my friends and family. I had a few drinks. I got chatting to that girl or guy that I'm texting now and I like. That relationship could work out. I'm back in the gym. Maybe not on Monday, on Tuesday. I'm back drinking more water. I'm back watching and being mindful of my nutrition. I'm back eating more protein. I'm back eating more color on my plate and I feel good and I have adequate bowel movement. Oh my God, this is wonderful. So, if you can overthink the negative, you can overthink the positive. Always try your best. In a world full of negativity and weaponizing shame, please just try put a positive spin on it and just watch your mood, your feeling, and just your thoughts. How your thoughts start to process in your head, they will be a lot happier and more positive. Your actions will always follow your identity. So if you constantly tell yourself you're someone who falls off track, you'll keep falling off track. But if you shift that to, I had a weekend off routine, but I'm someone who gets back on track quickly, now everything changes because your focus becomes reset, not perfection. So all it is just I'm resetting and I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just resetting and we go again. That's all you have to do. So the key skill is resetting quickly. So we've all heard the saying, the longer you think about something, the less likely you're to it. The gym, texting a girl or a guy, a job promotion, anything. The longer you leave something, the more likely you are to psych yourself out of doing that very specific thing. So the people who get the best results long term are not the most perfect. They're the ones who slip up. They can turn it on quickly. So they slip up for one day, but they're back on it after the second day. So let's say they don't turn one off day into a week. They don't turn one off weekend into a month. They don't let guilt drag them further away from the person they want to become. They just reset straight away. No drama, no punishment, no extremes. Just, right, that was that. That was the weekend. We're back at it. That's it. And people overthink that, but that's actually a skill in itself and a skill that you need to build. And if you're listening to this, you need to start building that. It's all about the response. And myself and Dean spoke about this in a podcast as well. He always said it wasn't the individual night out, it's the response to the night out. What actions do you take after you have that off weekend, off plan night out? It's all about the next day because life is always going to happen no matter what. We're going to have birthdays, we're going to have holidays, weekends out, stressful weeks, stressful days at work. If your progress depends on everything being perfect, you'll never get there. Practical takeaways that you can do after Paddy's weekend, because look, a lot of this podcast was inspired by me chatting to a lot of clients and getting them through that kind of lull and rush they were in after Paddy's. Look, and we're all human at the end of the day. Nobody's perfect. It's just all about the bounce back from these weekends. So if you're sitting there right now or walking, listening to this, well done, and you're feeling like you've fallen off, Here's exactly what I want you to do. Number one, drop the guilt. It's useless, it doesn't help, and it only slows you down. Two, don't overcorrect. No starving yourself, no doubling sessions. Just go back to your normal routine, back into your normal train and split, back to your normal food. Don't overcorrect things. Three, focus on your next action, not the past, your next meal, your next session, your next block of steps. That's all that matters. Four, remind yourself who you are. This is important. You're someone who trains, you're someone who's improving their physique and overall well being, and you're someone who shows up. Act like that. Write that down somewhere, and you will see your actions will start to align with the goals that you want, because you're now telling yourself that you are that person that you're trying to become. Here's just a bit of a takeaway from this episode. You have to cut yourself some slack, but just don't lose your standards. So you can be kind to yourself and still expect progress. Those two things go hand in hand, and that's what long-term success is. It's never about being perfect. It's just built on consistency, resilience, and your ability to keep going after things don't go to plan for you. Because look, newsflash, not everything's going to work out for you how you want it. There's going to be times where you're going to have to Bear Grylls job, improvise, adapt, and overcome, if you remember that meme. But you're going to have to. And if Paddy's weekend knocked you off a bit, you haven't failed. You've just paused for a certain time. And now it's time to press play again. So going into this weekend, I've given you the practical tips to do. For me, it would be literally just think about your next step. Can I do a food shop now and get the ball rolling again? Can I plan out my meals and figure out what I'm going to be eating over the next few days to get myself back to where I was? Steps, can I get a bit of movement? The sun is shining, the weather is class. Can I get out in that? Can I get moving and it lift my mood and feel good? And then as well, look, the power of saying no. Going out again this weekend, does it benefit me after last weekend? Will I just spiral again? Sometimes there's the opportunity cost of saying no right now. If I say no right now, will this lead to better mood, better outcomes, and a better fulfillment, more fulfillment for me down the line? So look, cut yourself some slack and don't be so hard on yourself. Podcasting, it's going well. The episode with the two boys the last day was class, and we'll definitely be getting them on again. I have some guests lined up over the next few weeks now on certain topics. You definitely need to spend time reaching out to people and figuring out who you're going to have on the podcast next, because it's just all about providing value, as much value as we can, with topics like this, guests like I've had on previous ones as well, and it's going well. So again, thank you for listening, and I will catch you in the next one.